On February 2nd, 2019, UFC went to Fortaleza for UFC on ESPN Plus 2. The main event was Marlon Moraes versus Rafael Sunsao. On the undercard, Charles Oliveira defeated David Tamer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down how he got the Anaconda choke at the end. Really impressive finish by him in a fight where he was getting eye poked pretty badly in the start of the first round. Got caught with a double eye poke where he was sitting around for about 3 minutes, I believe. Then got eye poked right off of that. I was pretty angry. He was coming after Tamer a lot. This was a matchup that from the outset looked like a striker versus grappler matchup where you have Oliveira as the grappler and Tamer, who's a very good striker. And later on in the fight, Oliveira actually started to take over the striking and ends up rocking Tamer with a Tony Strickland style elbow. Gets close to finishing him, which is what you would see right here. So he has him up against the fence. Now, weirdly enough, the ref is telling David Tamer, whose back is completely turned to Oliveira while he's taking shots, hey, you have to keep fighting. And in that posture, it kind of looks like Tamer was done at that point. So if the referee had stepped in right there, I think that would have been the right call. But apparently Tamer did have some fight left in him, though he wasn't fighting very hard at that moment. But as he turned back into Oliveira cinched in a Anaconda choke, and that's what I'm going to break down right here. So that's him getting the grip. So just to go through what's happening here. So lands the uppercut. Now Tamer's turning. At this point, fight's basically over. Tamer's rocked, just facing away from him. If the ref wants to step in and stop the fight, and I think that's what he should do right here, he'd be well within his rights, and I think that's what he should have done. So Oliveira's landing. You can see the ref right here yelling into Tamer's ear, hey, you got to fight back or else I'm going to stop the fight. So giving him a chance when, in all reality, the fight's pretty much done right here. Tamer decides, okay, fine, I'll keep fighting. Turns around, turns into Oliveira, who's throwing hooks. Looks to clinch with him, which is smart. You generally want to close the distance when you're rocked and someone's pounding on you. So, right move there. But unfortunately, with a guy like Oliveira, who's super dangerous with his submissions, anytime you get into a grappling position with him, it's going to be problems. So now he ducks his head under as though he's going for a takedown. And from here, Oliveira could either go for an arming guillotine, or he could do what he ended up doing here and going for the Anaconda choke. Now, typically, unless you got really long arms, which Oliveira does, you're not going to go for an Anaconda choke here. A guillotine usually makes a lot more sense. But when you got the kind of arms or the length of arms that Oliveira has, definitely go for the Anaconda if it's there. So here he gets his grip. You can see right here he's got it on the bicep. Now from here, for Tamer, anytime someone's got an Anaconda type of grip while they're standing, it's going to be extremely tough, and I don't even know if I've even seen it before where someone's finishing a standing Anaconda choke. Typically what the guy who has the choke wants to do is drag you to the mat and then kind of get you on your back and then start walking his hips towards your hips. And at that point, they're really going to cinch in the choke and tighten it up. So for Tamer, he doesn't want to go down to the mat no matter what. And for Oliveira, he wants to get him down. So now the question is, how's Oliveira going to be able to drag this fight to the mat? So what he actually does is he's going to drive Tamer towards the fence. And as Tamer is pushing back, he's going to want to push back into Oliveira. And when he starts to push back, that's when Oliveira is going to drop his butt to the mat and drag him over. So drags down. And from here, Tamer is in deep trouble. So right now, Tamer, you kind of want to roll down, but at this point, your back's to the mat. There's really not a whole lot of space here. You're pretty much screwed. All you can really try to do is make some space wherever you can. But with Oliveira, he's already got cinched in. There's really no space to make at this point. So he tries to roll, which is the right thing to do. Oliveira does a good job of sticking with it. Gets him back down. And from here, if you look at the spinal alignment of David Tamer, it starts at the hips and it would go straight up this way. But with the way that this choke is sunk in, it's cutting out to the side. So you can tell how uncomfortable it is just based off of the fact that the spine, instead of being aligned straight out, is arching over this way to the left. And if you get a look at his head, you can tell his head's bloodshot red. He's having trouble breathing here. It's getting tight. Oliveira is going to want to start walking his hips over here. A lot of times when you're trying to finish the Anaconda choke, you'll take this top leg, which would be his right leg, and cinch it over and grab and kind of like hook over top of the hip over here. But it's so tight already that he doesn't even get to that point before the tap comes. And you can see he's starting to walk, but the tap right now, Tamer's trying to reach and create a little bit of space, but there's really nothing he can do at this point. He's tapping. That's the fight for Oliveira. So great job for Charles Oliveira. Another win for him. He's one of those guys where when he wins, he looks so impressive because he's a great finisher. Really, really solid striking. Obviously, we saw that against Tamer where he's able to rock him and lead into the lead into the submission finish. He obviously could have gotten the TKO finish there with a different ref. And then once it gets to the mat, he's got a lot of submissions from a lot of different positions, whether it's from his guard, getting someone's back. Remember that calf slicer that he had against Derek Wisely. So he's got a lot of different options, and he's pretty impressive when he does get the victory. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets a ranked opponent now. He's always, after he wins a fight at lightweight, he always seems to be complaining that he's having to fight at lightweight and he wants to go back to featherweight. I think it's probably right for him to stay at lightweight right now and see where he can take it. Maybe give him a fight against a guy like Gregor Gillespie, who's on his way up right now. It could be a decent name for Gillespie, who hasn't really fought a guy who's an elite jiu-jitsu guy or an elite wrestler yet. You could give him an elite wrestler right now. I know Kevin Lee's been talking about Gillespie, but maybe a guy like Oliveira, who's just a killer on the ground, would be an interesting matchup, because then you'd give Gillespie a position where he either has to decide to stand with a guy who's got pretty good Muay Thai, or see if he can take a fight to the mat and pound on Charles Oliveira for 15 minutes without getting caught in anything, which would be pretty impressive if he does that. So let me know what you guys want to see next for Charles Oliveira, and if you think he deserves to be ranked at this point. And if you guys like this video, go ahead and click the like button. If you want to see more videos like it, go ahead and hit subscribe. If you don't like it, then go ahead and hit the dislike button. That's fine too.